Welcome back to AM Northwest. If you're looking for love on dating apps, how do you know when it's time to move on from a person you've been matched with? Here to share helpful tips, we welcome back relationship and dating expert Kelly Marie. Great to see you again, Kelly.
Great to be here.
One of your first tips is one of the things red flag to look out for is they want to meet right away, but only on their terms.
Yeah, it's kind of this, like, of course you want to meet right away. Of course you want to connect with someone. You're on the app. And of course they're excited to. So I'm not saying that's something that would be a red flag. This is someone that says, hey, I want to meet. I don't want to be a pen pal. And you say, well, okay, I've got plans. How about next week? And you get kind of a pushback. Like, why does it take that long?
Why not tomorrow?
Why not tomorrow? Like, I've had clients, I've had this experience myself. Somebody that's pushing like that is not thinking about how do I collaborate with this person. They're thinking, how do I make this work for me? Right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of a big red flag. The other part of that, especially if they don't want to get on a phone call before you meet. This is more for men than women, but it happens both ways. I found that men that don't want to get on a phone call before they meet will say things like, well, I'm better in person. But in reality, that's not the case. It's just that social norms make it that women will spend more time with someone if you're in person versus if you're on the phone and you're not a good conversationalist or you're very self-centered. It's easier to get off the phone. So again, just if somebody's making it hard or not like understanding that before you met them 48 hours ago, you made all these plans in your life.
You're right.
And
you're busy.
You're busy. You know, not that you're too busy to date someone. That's the other thing, is not getting the concept that a first date isn't something you drop everything for.
Right. Right. You've got other plans.
Yeah.
You say they keep putting off planning to meet, and only want to text.
Yeah. So these are like the
total opposites.
The total opposites. And usually the men are pushing for the first date, and that's a red flag. And then usually women will be putting off meeting, and that's a red flag. They'll go into pen pal mode. I think for women, maybe sometimes it's because their pictures aren't authentic, or they have hesitation or nervousness that, you know, they're meeting a stranger off the internet. So they'll wait and wait and wait. And honestly, you don't want someone that is kind of stuck in fear mode or wants to keep things at a distance. You want someone that's like, hey, here I am. Who are you? Do we connect? Do you want to keep connecting? And if it goes on too long, my advice is to just say, hey, you know, if you can think of a time and day that works, let me know. Otherwise, you know, I'm gonna move on from this because I really want to meet. I'm not interested in only talking on the phone and over text.
I can see how women might, in general, not always the case, but romanticize someone more when they're just texting and they're not finally going to meet in person. I totally get that. You find yourself trying to teach them how to make you happy.
Yeah, and so this is kind of a self-reflection one. Like, this could be you, but it also could be the other person. So if you're in the texting mode on the dating app and the other person is doing and saying things that are said in a way, or the things that they say don't work for you, and you're like, well, if I just tell them how I feel, if you have to work to teach someone at a texting level, this isn't a fit. That doesn't mean they're not a good person.
Right.
It just means that if it takes this much work to just say, hi, how are you? What are you up to? What kind of music do you like? Which is normal chit chat for the first little bit when you're getting to know someone. Then this isn't, you know, just move on to someone that the conversation flows a little more readily.
You say they talk about you in the context of them.
This is a recent addition, and it's very, very subtle. And I started picking up on it. A few clients in a row had interactions with men who did this, but it flips both ways. If someone says, oh, I like that you do that, that's good for me because I need to get out and go walking. I like that you hike because, you know, that's good for me. Or I like that you're someone that's wise with their money because that means it won't be a burden on me. Versus, I like that you get out walking. Having a healthy lifestyle is really important. What made you decide that? Like, being curious about and impressed with who you are, or your money standards as a indicator of who you are versus how it benefits them.
Yeah. Too much too soon.
This one, it's like too much of anything, too much information, too much love bombing, too much, you know, wanting to spend time together. That's someone that's really trying to create this connection too fast, and it's usually not going to last if they're pushing for it. Now, if someone's really into you, hooray! But you know, as you're saying, hey, let's take it a little slowly, they'll be responding. And again, too much information too soon.
Right.
If that works for you, great. But for most people, it's a little bit, it's too much. It's like,
much.
okay, there's a lot of drama usually that goes with that.
They don't ask questions. So many of my girlfriends have said the guys they've been set up on dates with don't ask questions.
This is the number one, and it's honestly, it's so interesting. It seems to be a 45-year-old, maybe 40 plus phenomenon. The men that my clients date, my clients that are under 45, it's not an issue. They really are usually pretty good about asking questions, engaging in conversation. But men, especially over 50, just have been programmed to talk about themselves and not take interest in anyone else. And if there's one thing that would change the loneliness crisis and get you another date, is ask her a question, ask her a follow-up question about that question, you know, from both sides. But in general, it is usually men that are having a problem with this. But you know, if someone's not asking you questions on the dating app, more than likely they're not going to ask you questions on a phone call or in person.
Yeah, they're not going to be really interested in you or themselves. All great tips. Kelly, thank you very much. All right, we'll be right back with more AM Northwest. Don't go away.